Whew. Ah, haha, I have forgotten how to walk. Well, welcome back everybody. We are back in the hole. Um, just a quick update because I do not trust the community tab to actually convey information. Uh, I am currently in the works with the cookie recipe video. I'm trying to figure out how to make it work, but it's going to be fabulous. So there's that to look forward to. There is also the fact that had to take a little holiday break, but as of recording, this is Halloween proper. So happy Halloween. Once again, I think I said that last time, but also who cares? So I thought in the spirit of the actual Halloween, I would tell probably, I guess, as much of my actual ghost stories as we can get through in probably 20 minutes, because like my last one was 40 minutes long, and while everybody like zones out, well, everybody like it got a lot of views, which once again do not care, especially because freaking y'all failed your homework. There's like 400 people who are going to be stuck with me for another year. I wanted to retire, but no, we have to repeat this grade. Oh, disgusting. Do your homework. So yeah, well, 40 minutes was fun. Probably not doing that again. And we have a hole. Neat. Okay. So it's a new day. We're probably gonna spend one day night cycle. Just vibing, cause why not? And there's a creeper. Oh man. Okay, well, we're gonna waddle on past him. He doesn't. Okay, sorry. I can be normal. I promise. Very picturesque. My golly. I'm definitely gonna stay. Imagine if I just built a really nice house like right there, right by the river, and then later we go adventuring, and we go to actually do that like ocean monument and all the water stuff. Cause like I don't want to go too far from spawn. Always remember your roots, like, right? Whew, okay, distractions aside, we're almost 3 minutes in, and it's like, probably should start. What was that noise? It was me. That's the answer. Okay, so, my main ghost story is effectively a 4-parter spread throughout. Let's see. Last Christmas to this August is when the majority of happenstanced. So what is that? I can count. December, January, well, it's end of December. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So over an 8-month period, which is like, you know, so cool. What was like, I need to be like working on something in the background so I'm not just like zoning out the whole time. Let's go take a look down here and possibly terraform. So once again, 8 months of time. So it totals to like about 5 little scenarios that happened that kind of just all add up into my one big ghost story. So our story begins December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2023. Feels like an eternity ago because we're almost there again. That's horrifying. You know, time moves. Disgusting. Couldn't be me. Oh. So, my fam has a tradition of we go and look at Christmas lights because the neighborhood, like, you know, sets up all the Christmas lights, and we had already gone once that winter, you know, so I kind of wanted to not do that because we were gonna be up late, and I don't know, I was feeling antisocial and probably being a bit of a punk, so I probably deserved the ghosts coming after me. So it's like skill issue, you know. So everybody else has left the house. It's just me alone, only in Ohio. I had made myself a sandwich. It was a really good sandwich, even if I was just horrified the whole time. So yeah, once again, me alone in the living room with a sandwich. That's the solution to the clue. Everybody else who's guessed wrong is eliminated from the game. Yeah, that's how this works, I'm afraid. My bones. So, sorry. I'm just sitting there. Oh, before this happened, I was like, oh, I need to remember to say the one thing that makes this entire thing make sense. Puppy! Otherwise, you're just gonna go straight into the story and it's gonna make no sense until like halfway through. And instead, here we are. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, so what you need to know is that one of my skills is that I'm really good at reading people most of the time. Now, the term like empath is thrown around, and usually it makes it feel like way more magical than it is. And like, I'm all for things feeling magical, but to the realistic proportion, it's not. I don't think that part's the supernatural. And like, I allow myself a little bit of superstition, but not like a whole lot, you know? So, but one thing I do know is that I'm good at telling what people think and how people react to things. I'm just kind of hyper aware to everybody's like behavior patterns. Gotta make sure that I know how people will react for later. I don't know why, but it's something that I just passively catalog. Which comes with a couple of key strengths and a couple of key flaws, because I spend way too much time obsessing over people's actions, because I have to think about what they mean by everything to, you know, flesh out my idea of them. But also the key advantage that makes any of these ghost stories make sense is that I'm like, I kind of just picked up a habit of being able to tell where people were at any given time. So like, you know how when you look at somebody and you see where they are, and it's like, okay, yeah, you occupy a certain amount of space, and I'm not going to try and walk through that because that's stupid. And this isn't some I really want to say Chekhov's cat. What's the cat? Pavlov's cat? Nope, that's Pavlov's dogs. What is the psychological Schrodinger's? Is it Schrodinger's cat? Oh, I can't remember. I'm gonna feel so dumb. Oh, okay. So anyway, we're 10 minutes in. This was supposed to be 20 minutes long. Guys, it might be longer. I'm sorry. You knew what you were getting into when you clicked on this. You know who you are. So anyway, like, once you understand how much space somebody occupies, even if you look away, you know that, hey, okay, that space is still filled. And when you hear them move, it's like, okay, that space is still filled, but it's a different space. It's not the different amount of space, but you can kind of track somebody moving through space without looking at them. And that's just like, I pay attention to those details. So usually while I'm paying attention, I like very rarely can people sneak up on me, or can people like surprise me, because I'm just always kind of moving out of the way to, you know, avoid being in the way, because it's convenience. But all this to say, there's like, you in the purely natural way of telling that somebody operates a space was elevated to a supernatural level on December 24th, 2023. We've made it back, guys, and it's nighttime, and it's hardcore, and I should go back to my hole before I die, and I have effectively spent this entire day moving a little bit of dirt, and I still have to climb a mountain. We live, laugh, love here. Oh, some meat for me! Oh, I can make a bed. Hold on, wait, can I just make a bed and sleep down here? Yo! Sleeping under the stars. Okay, I'm just gotta go fast, Okay, so just to recap, in case anybody forgot, we're 10 minutes in. Okay, It was nighttime. I was alone in the living room with a sandwich. I had just sat down, and I just get this like all of my long trained skills that tell me when somebody is around and to not run into them. All of those like signs start going off, and it's just like I just get the overwhelming sense that there's somebody there, and it's like okay. And in the looking for emotional cues, like little like body language things in this person that, as far as my eyes can tell, does not exist. Even though I'm entirely sure that one of the doorways to the living room is occupied by a human-sized entity that I cannot see. Don't know why. I just get the just overwhelming wave of malice. Just this, there was like as far as I could tell, my body was telling me that there is somebody there. I cannot see them, and they hate me. You know what is an absolute assassin of tension? Is when so there I am, sitting on the couch, as every single alarm bell in my head just going off, and I just sit there like frozen. Like you hear the things like when you panic, you can fight. It's fight, flight, or freeze. Apparently I chose freeze. I did not condone this, but to be fair, it's pretty hard to pick a fight with somebody you can't see. Because that definitely would have been my personal choice, but subconscious kind of was calling the shots back then. So I'm just sit there shaking, eyes locked on this doorway where I'm sure that this person is, even though like physical reality refuses to agree. And then it moved. Like as my like without me like consciously doing anything, my eyes kind of just track it from the doorway to behind one of our couches. It just decided to walk there, and I just can't look away from the spot because I know that I just know there's something there. It's just some overbearing feeling of terror that just refuses to let go. And the thing that actually snapped me out of it, ooh, pretty sunset, is the hello moon was when my family actually got home, and I just once they were back, everything felt right again. Like there was something terribly wrong, and I'm not sure what it was. And I wouldn't be sure until much, much later. So that's part one. Now, I really don't want to leave it on this point, but also, like, this is more work for, more work for me later. But hey, anything for you all. So, part one goes off like that. I explained to my parents what I understood. They're kind of like, huh, and it doesn't go anywhere. And it's like, you know what? Probably overreactive imagination. Probably something in the sandwich. The sandwich was really good, though. I remember that much. And it probably wasn't worth worrying about. That's what they thought. Anyway, fast forward to I don't actually know the date of the last one. It wasn't attached to any like physical date well enough that I can remember when. So it was just later. I think it was still during. Oh wait, actually, hold on. Wait, actually, I'm gonna need that. Yes. I have a single bone, and if I do not get a dog in the first try, I will sob for the next 15 minutes and extend the video for the full duration. So like understandably, like they were like, that sounds silly. And I'm like, it sounds silly too, but I was just scared out of my mind for like half an hour. And oh my gosh! Ah! Okay. He'll win this time. So, it was fine. They didn't care really, but it's like, who would? It's not by itself. It's not really anything special. Now, the next time, so we have a big. Speaking of traditions, what we do a lot are spend evenings watching TV as a family. So like, it's usually somewhere between 8 to 10 p.m. Now, I don't remember what I'd been doing, but I was like, oh yeah, let's go. So I made myself a huge mug of tea. Now I've got this giant mug. It is ginormous. It is so big. It's like the size of a human skull or something. Only minorly foreboding, just how I like it. Now I'm just running in circles. I need to like actually start laying out a foundation, otherwise I will never get anything done. And so I was just like, I'm gonna fill this entire mug with tea. So I'm filling it up with chamomile tea, chamomile tea, because tea is delicious. And I have this giant mug of tea. It is so big. It's gonna take me like an hour to like even like, I don't know how to describe the action of prolonged the guzzlement of a giant thing of tea. I don't know what the verb is for that. Probably prolonged guzzlement of a large thing of tea. So, you know, make the tea, and I look up from making my tea, and everybody's gone to bed. Everybody's gone. And I was like, okay, I guess I missed a memo here. Would have appreciated if somebody gave me a heads up, but like, no. No, that's cool. That's chill. That's fine. That's totally bombastic. Okay, listen, this is the greatest crime that Mojang has committed. Why can't I make green? Chromatically, this should make green, but I can't make green. Why can't I make green? And I can make pink. Okay, you're gonna be pink now. You're a pretty princess. Who I'm gonna name like Murder Slayer. As soon as I get my hands on a name tag. Dang it. Oh, my train of thought again. It is not reliable. Oh. Come on, Murder Slayer, come on. Ooh, hope the group is not still here. Oh yes, okay, tea, spilled the tea. So I'm just like, okay, I gotta finish the tea because I can't just leave like a gallon of tea. It's not a gallon of tea. Minor embellishment. I can't just leave. Oh, you went inside by yourself. You're so smart. I can't just leave a gallon of tea for the later. That's like the wasteful, and we can't have that. So I just sat down at the kitchen island to drink the tea, like you do. I'll leave the crafting table here. Come on. I shut the door in your face, but I'm pretty sure you should be able to just. Murder Slayer cannot be bound by physical limitations. Come on, come in. Yay! So I just, you know, you know. I'm sitting there at the kitchen island, drinking this giant thing of tea, playing games on my phone, because I do have games on my phone. And so I was just vibing, you know, by myself, which is like, it's fine, but also when the ghosts come to get you. And so what you need to know is that the specific seat that I was, like, you know, sitting on, the seat of which I sat, is when sat upon, your back faces the basement stairs. It's just, you know, quirky little layout thing. Now, our basement is unfinished and also used to be thoroughly haunted. I'm entirely convinced. My entire superstition allotment goes to believing that the basement was haunted as frick. The vibes were never right down there. And anyway, that's story like 3 and 4. So I'm sitting there, my back to the basement door that we always kept open for some reason. We still do. It still kind of freaks me out, but we've had character development since then, so it's less terrifying. I've grown up. I'm a big boy. And I need to make a chest. So I'm sitting there. It's like, if it was like 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. earlier, it's probably like 10 or 11 right now, which is like usually usually like, you know, bedtime-ish for the whole fam. I'm a little bit of a night owl, so I would have stayed up later regardless. But the weird part is when I was just sitting there, and then I feel this weird physical sensation as if somebody has wrapped their arms around me. Like, just from behind, somebody came up behind me, wrapped their arms around like my torso. I looked down and I could see how my shirt had been like pulled against me, like somebody wrapped their arms around me. Now here's the fun part. There were no arms. There just weren't. So I just kind of sat there, like waited for this weird feeling to go away, waited for the wind in the middle of my house with no windows open to stop, waited for the building to finish settling, waiting for the AC to turn off, waiting for the any number of things to happen that would mean that any number of rational explanations I could think of. And I just sat there waiting, and it didn't change. It just stayed there, stayed ghost hugging me. Now, I will say this time, unlike the last time where I was sure I could detect a person, I could not tell if there's a person there this time. Now, to be fair, I was also zoning out, which is the few times where I am very easily snuck up upon, as my siblings love to do all the time. So I was not the most aware to begin with, and so I'm not sure about the ghost in this case. But I ended up getting up and moving, and immediately, like, my shirt just like fell back to where it was. I could feel the like additional motion of returning to where it was. It wasn't like I just imagined it. I was very careful to make sure that I waited and thought through every possibility. Like, am I tired? Am I hallucinating? Am I sure of what I am seeing and feeling before I moved? And when I moved, everything went back to normal. I was kind of freaked out, and I ran upstairs to bed like a little coward. Which I was until we had a character development. Now I'm a big coward. So that was effectively encounter number 2. It was weird, to say the least, but it specifically lacked the hostile intent from number 1. Now, yeah, I'm not anywhere close to reaching the goal time, but I really want to finish the story, even if it means that I'll have much less stories to tell later. But I get the feeling there will always be more stories. So number 3, number 3 would probably be the dreams. because I'm still cataloging. I didn't. I've told this story to a couple people at this point, especially after the events in August that has led to the end of supernatural effects in our house, which I appreciate a lot. So hey, we got that going for us. But so number 3 is a weird string of dreams that well, that's kind of an unrelated story. I don't know if it has anything to do with that, so we're gonna skip it. Story for another time. Another time. That one's like actually horrifying, and I'd probably, if I was to be detailed, I'd probably have to like viewer discretion, because like as much as the rest of this was horrifying to me, nothing terrible really happened from the ghost in the basement. So we should be good. Once again, always strive to be family friendly. And there's another creeper. Hello. Okay, how many logs do I have? Why did it do that? I probably should get some more. So basically all you need to know is that I was having some really weird dreams that were very, very disturbing. Also a story for another time. Now, this all rounds up with August. So we've had Christmas, something probably late winter to early spring, whatever that means for Ohio. So probably like, oh, it had to be like January, February or something. Just January, February 2024, because all of this is pretty recent. So in August, we had a big family reunion. Now, there were a lot of people who I hadn't seen in a long time, especially the person I was hoping to reconnect with the most was my uncle, who I hadn't seen in like 5 years. So for the duration of this this little family get together, he had to fly in, so he was staying in our basement. We like set up this tent with a futon in it, so it was like actually like pretty fancy. The worst way to get woken up is being woken up and then being told you have to set up a tent in the basement and move a futon inside. That was not the fun part. The fun part was having is it worth using a pseudonym? I mean, people who know will know. Let's call him Joe. So Uncle Joe and I are like in the are talking late one night. We had a lot of these chats because, you know, he was in our house. He couldn't leave, I couldn't leave. It was like 3 a.m., which is like the best time. This isn't actually a ghost encounter, but what happened is that he was like, yeah, something feels off about your basement. And I was like, aha. So like this grown adult from a military background was told me that there was probably something supernatural going on in the basement. And Uncle Joe is the most down-to-earth guy. He is just so chill, and he just goes with everything. He's both one of the calmest and most terrifying people I have ever met. Love him. And he's just so like, yeah, I feel like there's something in your basement. He said that he told it to I trying to figure out how to word this. He's like, I told it to effectively F off. I think I can get away with that. I think I can. We'll find out in post. And he was like, yeah, and it did. So I was like, oh, cool. So you came you came to our house, you came into the basement, which we put you in, so it's like kind of our fault. And then you just told the ghost, to, you know, take its business elsewhere, politely. And then, according to him, it did, and it just kind of left him alone. And I was just like, this was not at all what I was expecting. But once again, Uncle Joe is so cool that if he told the ghost to stop, it probably would. It's a vibe, I guess. He was very nonchalant about it, like he's done this before or something. And this just got us talking because at this point is when I had started, so on the progression of, and the power scaling, love to see it, of I definitely believe that the people's souls are worth more than they think they are, and that people are capable of what they think they are. Now, how this all connects back is that Uncle Joe, I was calling him Joe, right? Uncle Joe was the kind of person that he just had overwhelming, if I had to define his trait, he just had this degree of authority about him, that if he told you to do something, you would do it. It probably extends to the fact that he was, I don't actually know much about his military background, but he was in charge of people. He told people what to do, I assume. He tells stories about telling people what to do, so I'm going to just assume that I'm correct on this. And that when he actually meant something, that he needed to be listened to, you did. It was non-negotiable, because he was so wise and so strong that his words had so much impact, and I look up to him so much because of that. Despite the fact that I am actively here, dumbing myself down a little bit to make sure that I'm a little goofy guy on the internet. But you know what? Who says I can't be both? So, I'm fighting my ADHD with every single fiber of my being. So it made sense that someone like him, if he told a ghost to F off, it would. And as far as I can tell, he was not bothered for the rest of the trip. Now, unfortunately, the very night that Uncle Joe left the I don't know where that sentence was going, but to restructure, the very night that Uncle Joe left was possibly the last encounter I had with the ghosts in the house. Now, no, that's not true. We had a rematch. I forgot about the rematch. Okay, so the very same day that he left, he had to go catch his plane. We got to say goodbye. Promised that it wouldn't be 5 years again because he's just so much fun, and family is important. I was talking to my sister. We were hanging out, just kind of vibing because our house had been so full of people that now it was like kind of empty, and we weren't quite ready to. Like, if you went to bed suddenly, then all of that's real. You don't wake up the next morning with people full of your house. What? People filling your house, like being around everybody. And so to ride the extrovert moments before I sink back into the normalcy of introvertedness, we pulled one last late night chat. We stayed up super late. It was just her and me. We were hanging out, laughing constantly, and eventually it did have to end. I walk out into the hall, and immediately everything goes cold. It was her, once again, being around her just feels like her presence is very warm. I've always classified her as like sort of an orange, because I think in colors and I smell colors probably. If she's orange, then this was like just pitch black. It was soul sucking cold as soon as I stepped into the hall, and I'm just standing there because once more alarm bells were going off. Now, instead of just being a polite little figure standing there, probably staring hatefully at me, first off, the overwhelming mouse was just more intense than before, and it didn't choose to commit to any one location. It was sort of blinked in and out around me, like warnings would appear, shut off, appear, as some subconscious part of my body was trying to keep up with whatever it perceived. Still don't know to this day. Just everything was terrifying. Like, it was just, if concentrated fear had been just forcibly injected into my body, and it was not reacting well, to say the least. Last time we just froze and it was cringe, and this time I refuse to let that happen again. So instead of freezing up, instead of just standing there and waiting for it to end, or even going back and asking for somebody to help, because like that's coward behavior. And this time I wasn't going to be a coward, so I just walked forward. I walked into the space it was occupying. Because actually I just really needed to go to the bathroom, and it was between me and the bathroom, so I was like, I might be afraid of you, but listen, this bladder is about to explode. Why? It's always the bathroom. It's always what is it with the demons I find and the bathroom? I just made that connection myself. Am I afraid of bathrooms? Is that it? I'm not. Okay, so walk through him, go to the bathroom, walk out. He's still there. He's still angry. Open, like, I'm going to my room. I'm turning on all the lights. Oh, I forgot to explain the thing. We'll talk about the lights later. That's a story for another time. And I stood there in my room, just refusing to run this time. I wasn't running like a coward. I walked every step deliberately because I wanted to be in my domain, and if it wanted to fight me on my turf, so be it. Before he left, Uncle Joe left me with the parting words of, tell it to F off, and maybe it will. I did try this. I do not have the conviction that Uncle Joe has, so it unfortunately would not F off for me. That sentence is so weird, and I don't like it. So I stood there. And eventually it gave up. It wasn't like this epic battle, like no spectral figures appeared out of the mist, the darkness, the bowels of another plane. It was just rage, and it was rage against someone who was not willing to relent this time. And eventually it got tired, like rage tends to do. And then I went to sleep, and I told my parents about it again in the morning. And this time, I was taken a lot more seriously, because it turns out that Uncle Joe had told my parents about the fact that both of us just agreed on many things that we thought were unique to us. We both seem to have a weird span of dreams. That's once again story for another time. Next time, if the story time is good, or otherwise, if y'all hate the story times because I'm not being quirky fun, and I'm also just rambling for about 50 minutes when I wanted to do this in 20, understandable. I will be editing this down, so hopefully less worries. But with Uncle Joe's credibility backing me up, they started to take me more seriously, which leads into some of my other stories. Okay. This is just about where there's only really one more part to get to on this set, but I did just realize how many other stories I have, and that this wasn't just a one-off thing like I thought. Reality is like kinda I refuse to believe that reality is just the normalcy that we think it is, because holy frick, are there too many unanswered questions for that to be satisfying? So let's wrap this up, trying to be efficient at 1 hour, so love that. But let's talk about the final matchup that I think happened, if I remember correctly, late September. So as we're getting really close to present day. For the events to come full circle, it was me once again, alone, sitting. It was right after I had like recovered from a really bad cold. So I was sitting alone, just downstairs, in the living room, the same seat I was Christmas, what feels like an eternity ago. Instead of a sandwich this time, I had invented something that I have dubbed soupy rice. It's basically you mix chicken soup and cheesy rice, and it is scrumptious and also incredibly easy to make because I get hungry in the evenings. So I was sitting there with my soupy rice. I was going to watch anime, and I was going to have a chill evening to try and ignore the fact that I was just dying of a cold. And I'm just sitting there, and wouldn't you know, I feel like I should have dubbed the ghost something before I was talked about him for 50 minutes. Let's call him Bub. So Bub walked into the room, same hallway he was before. He didn't pull any of the nasty teleporting tricks to freak me out, and his malice had quite honestly waned. I don't know why he was here this last time, but I just kind of glanced up, looked away, and this time I told him to frick off. And as of, I don't know, October 31st, 2024, 1 month later, solidly, I have yet to see him again. But that doesn't mean that my life isn't still weird as heck. It just means that one specific spot of weirdness has been dealt with. And there will always be more weirdness to deal with in the future, because that's just kind of how life is. But I think the takeaway from all of this is fear is the worst. Never let fear consume you when literally anything else is an option. And that we are stronger than we think. And with that, I think I'm going to try and do my best to edit this down. I will see you all very soon, hopefully, with the help of a special guest for a baking cookies video very soon. And yeah, so we might not have gotten anything done in this world, but hopefully you all have a fantastic Halloween. You think about the weirdness in your life and whether or not it could possibly be some sort of supernatural thing. The point isn't to increase superstition. The point is like, oh yeah, whenever I turn on the bathtub and starts and the demons come out, but I always thought that was just swamp gas. Like, give it the credibility it's due. Nothing more, nothing less. Have a wonderful Halloween. Stay spooky. I've been Chimera Nate, and I hope your day has been Chimera great. Thank you for watching.